class, let's talk about learning resource 2 of 2, striving for fit and design. At this point, you should have turned in your customer canvas, which gets you a little closer to where you want to be in terms of developing that customer profile and looking at the pains and gains. So let's now look at the value proposition canvas. This one is really well explained in this video. This video talks about how you take what you have done in your first canvas with the customer jobs, pains, and gains, and turn that into product and service that would help to alleviate one pain or give a gain or something like that. You can't solve everything, so select what you think can make sense. But this is supposed to help you figure out where you want to go with this. So I want to be able to talk, I'm hoping that you get a chance to look at both of these. This one gets you started going to the next step, which will be visualizing where you would go with this business if you were to do it. So look at those two first. But in addition, now is the time where we're really looking at customers. And one of the things I want to talk about is the difference between a customer profile and a persona. The buyer personas are something that companies really do use. I know this is a little bit old, but it doesn't matter. It's still a really well-written article. And so it talks from the strategizer point of view, what a persona is. Here's looking at your value canvas that you're going to be doing. But when you're looking at a customer profile, you tend to list facts about the customer. You don't really bring that customer to life. You just kind of list that, who they are, where they live, that kind of thing. When you start building a buyer persona, you take all that information and you actually kind of create people, personas of who those people might be. Let me show you some templates for these. These, and believe me, I've used them. I've used them in a number of companies that I've worked with. So, I know with Pendleton, when I was working with them, we had on the women's side, we had 3 different personas for the 3 different lines of clothing that we carried. We had, we had Rebecca, we had Beth, and we had Becky. And Rebecca was the older, more mature customer. Beth was the more middle-aged businesswoman who wanted to look really put together but didn't want to look old. And Becky was for our new line of younger, fresher kinds of things. And we had the same on the male side with a Daniel, a Dan, and a Danny. So these are people that help, these personas are used to help fully understand, have everybody get on board with who they are. So, for example, if we were looking at a collection at Pendleton Fashion, you could easily have somebody say, "Oh, well, this one's definitely for Rebecca," and everybody would know what that meant. So, personas are used to really bring things to life. So, let's look at a couple of these. Here's one. We always make up names, but Jessica Jones. She's 27. She's a software engineer. She's from San Francisco, California. And you kind of talk about who you think she is. What are her likes? What are her dislikes? Now, you're not making them up so much as you're using the information you gathered in your customer profiles, where you're pulling out all this information you can learn from surveys and talking to customers and seeing sort of what, looking at their social and that kind of thing, data mining about them. You can find out about them. And then you sort of turn them into these, kind of make them people, and they become someone that you can sell to. Let's look at another one. So this one's David Miller. He's 28, New York, product designer, living with his girlfriend. Here's a brief bio on who he is. He lives in a rental apartment and with 2.5 rooms, and he's and with his student girlfriend. What are some of his wants and needs? How savvy is he with tech? What are some of his favorite brands? What are some of his frustrations? Those would be pain points. So now when you look at, although they spelled David wrong, but as long as you look at this, sorry, that's what my eye sees, you see in here that you can bring David to life. So these are personas, and they're all kind of similar, but they each take on different things based on what you're trying to find out about the particular customer. So there are places you can go for templates that will help you pull together a persona and get them for free. But I think the number one thing I really want you to do is just understand that as you're looking at your customer profiles, start envisioning who they are. It's never going to be one. Nobody has one customer. Every customer has some different values. But what you can do is clump various values into these buyer personas so that you can look at this buyer and say, this person who is this age, who has this information and this kind of person, I know how to sell to that person now based on what I understand about them. And yet they'll have another person as well. So you will be developing personas, and I think it's important to understand the difference between the two. So anyway, I hope you have fun with this one, because if you're looking at this article too, I'm going to go to here a little bit too, to talk about the fact that when you're really looking at to understand your customer, this is a good one in that it takes this entire thing that you're doing, and you'll learn by watching the video what gain creators are, pain relievers, and the product and service you're going to use. So you'll see how these two have to connect, these two have to connect, and the product goes back to solving these gains and giving them or solving these pains and giving them a gain. And it goes back to the job to be done. But understanding the customer is really an important part of this. So that's why I'd like you to read through this, because there are things to think about. Like, gains are not simply the opposite of pains. They're hidden ambitions people have, goals, things that will make them happy. So even though a pain may have a direct correlation, it's not always that. You might just find that you're just going to help get them a little closer down the path. So think about the value that you could create. If any of you have been in marketing classes, you will hear us talk about customer value and the importance of that. So this article shows a couple of fit examples. This one was done by Tesla, where they got this fully clear. This is kind of you, as you can recognize as the customer chart. So this is that job to be done, and the gains, the pain relievers, and the products. So as you go down, you'll see that fit really does work. But in below, they have some that don't fit. And it might help you. There's just the one that doesn't fit, and then this one does. So it may help you to see how there could be a misfit in this, and how you want to pull together the gain creators and the pain relievers that correlate directly with these two things. So anyway, so this will help you, I believe, to get to the next step. So and these videos are both very good. This one is excellent, so please take time to look at it. And I look forward to seeing your striving for fit charts.